This problem is from the cost of capital, and it will show you how to calculate the cost of each capital component singly: debt, equity, and preferred stock, and to use them and the relative amounts of each one that the company has in its capital structure to calculate the company's weighted average cost of capital, or WACC. You have the question, Lancaster Engineering, so you can read it yourself. It wants, first of all, for us to calculate the cost of each capital component. The equations are there. Cost of debt is calculated with this equation here. And the 1 minus t reflects the impact of the tax benefit that debt gets in reducing the overall cost of debt to the company. And so debt has two costs. It has a before tax or nominal cost that we refer to here as K debt, BT, before tax. And then the impact of the tax break gives you the cost of debt after tax, which is the real cost that the company pays. The problem told us that the company could raise debt at 12%. That would have been its before tax cost here. It tells us that a tax rate is 40%, 0.4. So we plug the numbers into this general equation. It looks like that. When we work it out, the cost of debt is 7.2%. The cost of equity and the preferred stock, neither of them gets a tax benefit. So the whole idea of 1 minus t does not apply to the other two. We calculate them using, for equity, we use this equation, D1, which is the expected dividend, P0, which is the current price of the stock, and G, which is the growth rate of the stock price or of the dividend. D1, of course, refers to the expected dividend, whereas in many problems like this one, they give you the dividend that was already paid, which is D0. So we have to convert D0 into D1 because the cost of equity requires D1, the expected dividend, and not D0, the one already paid. So we convert them simply by multiplying D0 by 1 plus G, the growth rate. So D1 here becomes D0, 1 plus G, which becomes 360. D0, 1.09 is 1 plus 0.09. So this top line here is this top line, which is this. So we have found D1 to be 3.92. P0, the current price of the stock, is $54, and the growth rate G is 0.09 or 9%. And so the cost of equity is 16.26. The cost of preferred stock, you'll see the equation is quite similar to equity, but there's no growth, there's no G. We were given the preferred dividend and the preferred price, so the preferred stock is easy. So when we get to this one, we have answered question 1 because we have found the cost of each capital component. The second one says calculate then the weighted average cost of capital, or the WACC. This is the equation. Weight, as the note says here, the weight of each of them, preferred, equity, debt, refers to the relative amounts of each one that we have in the capital structure. And the question gave us debt is 25%, preferred stock is 15, common equity is 60. Says 25% for debt, 0.25, that's the weight. For equity, the weight is 60%, 0.6. And for preferred stock, the weight is 15%, 0.15. The price, which we have here, are the cost of preferred stock. We already found that, 11.58. We're just working in decimal here. We already found equity, 16.26, 0.1626. For debt, beware of the trap of using the real cost and reducing it further by 1.04. What we equation has given to us here, this equation is actually this. So we set it up here and we get the same 7.2 or 0.072 times the weight, which gives us the WACC, 13.3%. The third question, part of the question, gives us 5 projects that the company is considering. And we have their costs and their rates of return. Which project or projects should the company accept? Easy. Anyone that gives you a higher rate of return than this, 13.3. So 13.3% is the cost of the company's money. It will only invest in projects that give a return higher than this. And so when we look at the project list, we see 4 of them, A, B, C, and D, giving you a return higher than 13.3%. Those are the ones we're interested in because they will give a higher return than the cost of the money that we must invest in them. The actual cost of the projects themselves is of little consequence because if the project is profitable, we can raise the money. If the project is unprofitable, then even if it is free, it don't make any sense. So to determine which project we will find attractive, we just look for whichever ones give us a higher return or rate of return than the company's WACC. Thank you.